Okay, let's have a look at what do we have in store for September. I'm dying to know myself because wow, things are cranking. Things are cranking up. That's ourselves. That guy's full of truth and integrity, and he's very wise but fair. There's a fairness to that king. He's a good king. Queen, wow, kings and queens here, court cards. So we've got the Queen of Wands, that's us. So that would be our ego self, the house of Aries. This is the house of Taurus. Financial and the way we're approaching values, the way we're seeing. So we're valuing intuitive knowing. And in like she's very sovereign, but she's also intuitive and spiritual, connected. She values the divine feminine in everyone, men and women. She values her deep sense of knowing. And that, when I say that, by the way, some people comment that, well, the divine masculine too, and the cabal's been taking them down. Absolutely, I agree. Okay, so I am not putting down the masculine when I say something positive about the feminine. So just so you know, we're equal energies bringing totally different but valuable things. Of course. Okay, I got some comments last time when I did the Divine Feminine show, and somebody was like, well, the cabal's after the masculine. Absolutely, they're after humanity. Okay, but I happen to talk about with the transgender thing, it's definitely more focused on the feminine, where it's taking away the rights of women and taking away the value of women. Not to say they're not doing that in lots of ways to men. Okay, so just remember that. Okay, remember that's what I say. Okay, so we've got, look at these. We've got some really interesting cards in the very personal places here. This card is ourselves going into September, what we're valuing and how are we feeling valued? How do we view value? What are we valuing? How do we measure value? That's with intuitive knowing, and she's very woo. We're valuing woo knowledge. Okay, real knowledge, true knowledge. Fascinating. Of course, we know that's true in this community. Here we've got the third house of Gemini. So what we're speaking out, what we're talking about, what we're drawing in through our thoughts and words. Okay, so we draw in through speaking, thinking, like the element of air, what we're thinking and speaking, we create. So she's independence and sovereign. Incredible. Here's in the home place. So home, our deep inner self, what we call home, where we find home in ourselves, and maybe possibly in your own home. But we've got the world card. Okay, so what we consider our grounding and base maybe has really changed, because the world is on a whole new level and says goodbye to the old and hello to the new. So we've really leveled up in what we expect out there, what creates our world, but inside ourselves, how we present and how we intend to present. So a lot of people have really leveled up and changed and evolved. This is incredibly powerful going into September. And I think we're going to need this. We're going to need this grounding. Yep, sure enough. Look at that card. So that is the, I'm doing this because I'm going to need this space. So there's the fourth house, the house of Cancer, so home, but there could be, your home could be in your heart as well as physically your home, how you're feeling about your home. A lot of people might be changing their home. Isn't that interesting? In the next year, it's a major arcana, so not right away, but thinking about changing your home, and that could be upgrading, that could be literally changing it, moving it around. Okay, so here we've got Judgment, and that card, so that's let you see that one. The Judgment card is in the 5th house of Leo. So talking about what inspires you creatively, how creative are you being? What's your approach creatively? What's coming in at you romantically? So the new relationship-wise, friendship, romance. Also, how are you getting along with siblings? That could show up here too. Could be any one of those things I just mentioned or all of them. Right? So you can put it in perspective, but really, really, really questioning partners incoming, anybody new coming in. They need to be read into your value system, and really they need to be seeing the world as you're seeing it, or they're probably not getting in anywhere near you. Yeah. And that includes siblings. Like, I'm not even talking to mine unless, they're ready to talk about what I want to talk about. I'm just ignoring them, frankly. Yeah. I can love them from a distance. Thank you very much. Yeah. So then we've got the Knight of Swords. So that's the house of Virgo. This was Leo. This is the house of Virgo. So health related things, daily routine, work, how you view your work. This card is soldiering. Okay, so people out there we're doing a lot of, like, this community, certainly watching this video, doing a lot of digital soldiering, truth telling, even at work, in your workplace or in your daily routines. I'm certainly, like, I get up and I get online and I start sharing things and moving things around and answering emails. And yeah, I feel like I'm definitely doing that, but I think the whole community's doing that. Okay, we kind of go hot and cold on that, but September looks like a really big month to share info. Here we've got the Emperor. That is in your, what's going on with your partner, long-term relationships, important relationships. We're calling truth and integrity, and we want more truth out of maybe Trump in the white hats, the person posing as Trump, the person, the actors playing Trump, the brand Trump. Okay, we want more truth about what's going on with Trump. Who is he really? Is there still really a Trump underneath all that brand? Like, what's going on with Trump? Okay, I feel like we want truth and integrity, and we're going to demand it in September from Trump and or whoever they're displaying as or branding as Trump. Okay, so there could be a lot of directness here, but this guy's fair, and he sees the values of someone or whoever he's speaking to, but he also demands truth and integrity. Okay, let's see what we have here. That's in your 8th house. So that was the 7th house, relationships. It could also be talking about being really hard on partners, or a partner being hard on you. Actually, it's more like that. This could be a partner being a little bit hard on you, and you needing to really just stick by your truth and integrity. So if there's people out there in relationships where the person, and even if they're friendship relationships or just close, like sometimes we're caregiving adults, other adult parents, children, people that we're dealing with on the daily, that are really important in our lives, those are considered important relationships. 7th house doesn't have to only be about marriages, but it can be. Okay, I feel like our partners are going to have a lot of direct questions, probably because so much truth's come out and continues to, and will absolutely come out in September. Like, it's just feels like every month that ramps up even more. And there's going to be a lot of questions, even some hard ones, and they could even be being a little hard on us. Okay, what's going on here, and why weren't we told about this? And and of course we were, but they didn't want to hear about it. So you might need really good boundaries when answering those questions. Fair, approach it with fairness, kindness. This guy's kind and fair, but he's direct, honest, and has good boundaries. So keeping that in mind. Now that's interesting. So this is the 8th house of Scorpio across from this card here. So the 8th house of Scorpio, really a lot of moving in personal and more independence with how you view religion, spirituality, people really searching spiritually, lots more moving to the woo and the woo understanding. So having a personal approach to understanding your own soul and your connection to it. And she's a little bit witchy, but I don't mean that in the New Age way. Of course, we know now New Age was probably just another way to entrap people into the matrix, right? So all organized and sort of doctrine style religions, in my opinion, and with a bunch of rules and everything, are absolutely not the way to go. And that's just my opinion, and also what I've been reading from cards for forever, my lifetimes. Okay. I feel like we're all moving in a direction where we're personally discovering who we are on our own personal journey and going inward to find it. We're in all new territory, and a lot of people moving heavily toward the woo. In other words, so woo can be so many things, but it's a very spiritual, personal approach to understanding yourself spiritually. Okay, so let's have a look. Move these down a little. We're going to need some more room here. That would be so we had the 8th house. This is the 9th house. It's about philosophies. A lot of our philosophies ending. So we've ended a lot of what we thought was the way things worked. I certainly have, like science. Not that I was ever a big science buff anyway, but ever since the understanding that science has been science and science experts have been completely used against us and really helped to create all the big lies and facades of what was our history or what was told to us as our history. Okay. And yeah, just the way the world works and the way our health works and everything we've discovered, that, and I know I'm not alone here when I say this, that most of what we were told growing up as truth, health truth, and good eating truth, etc., has been a lie, right? So almost everything was designed. Sorry, we're having some trouble making that look like a zodiac spread. Almost everything was designed so. Guidelines, health guidelines, and everything was designed to keep us sick and not in the know. I'm going to do that because that's an important one. That's the 10th house. Okay, wow. Now let me just move these down a little. There, so you can have a look at that. There, that's showing them all. Yep, that'll work. Okay, wow. Okay, so we were here, and it looks like, so 10s are endings, and it's hard to let go of some of the history we were told, but I feel like about 90% of it's lies. Like I'm still on the fence with what's the shape of the earth. I'm still on the fence with is there outer space or is it something else? Could it be something else? But it doesn't mean there can't be other dimensional beings coming from there, because I believe there are, and even craft coming from there. But what is out there? What is that? Right? I don't know. Okay, so it's fascinating, like what exactly is happening, right? Are we in fact traveling around the sun? Maybe we're following behind it. Some people think that we're going in a spiral behind the sun. So many things. I have no idea. Really, I'm just going to wait for that to clarify itself. I really am. Okay, because I'm just not clear about all of that stuff, and I'm okay to sit and let it sort itself out. I'm not even gonna pretend to try to figure that all out. Okay, but I'll just keep reading the cards till it becomes really clear, and that's my best. That's my best way to approach things. Okay, and I'm a patient person, so I don't need to know that all those details. I just know that what we were told as kids is very likely mostly a lie. Okay, there might be a few truths in there, but it's mostly a lie. Okay, so yes, so that's across from, yeah, we're becoming more independent in our understanding of, first of all, where to seek out knowledge, right? We're not seeking it from the usual, the places we used to. Okay, and I don't know about you guys, but even like going online, like you're still looking at things that were, told to us. It's not just because it's online doesn't make it true either, right? I'm more looking within myself to intuitively understand things, and I'm also waiting patiently for them to reveal themselves. So I like to put it out there spiritually. That's the new territory, right? Spiritually, put it out there spiritually and let my higher self explain it to me in a dream or a vision, okay, or through card readings or all of the above. That's how I'm going to figure this all out. I've figured out the whole world so far. Like none of my spiritual ideas came from my parents because they were very Christian, and or my dad's still alive and still considers himself a Catholic. Okay, and my mom was from birth a really strong Catholic. Okay, so having not like stepped away from any kind of organized religion a long, long time ago, I've long been in the more independent way to understand myself spiritually. Okay, and it's always just been my practice. When something proves itself not to be true, I just let my dreams, visions, and card readings figure it out for me, right? And that's just how it is, right? That's how I figure things out. And interestingly enough, I've come to some great understandings of things, and I still think I might be right about a lot of things. Do you know what I mean? Like not everything, of course, but I'm still working it out. Right. And that's all we can do, really. But this card here says we have to put down almost everything we know about what we think we know. Right. We have to put it down. Now, let's see what's across from that one. I would think it would. Yep. Sag and Gemini. We have to independently. So we have to go out on our own and think for ourselves, because almost everything written or someone else came up with, okay, through their own experience, isn't going to be right for us. Okay, we're gonna, like, I think our life truth may be quite individual to each person. It's like that whole medicine bag thing. You gather things and they work differently. So your truth might be different than somebody else's truth, right? So that'll get really confusing, but really just take care of your own backyard and try to understand your own way of seeing things and what your soul needs to know. And don't try not to worry about what everybody else is thinking and doing. Do you know what I mean? I mean, of course we bump into it living in culture and society. Of course, we bump into what everybody else is thinking and doing. But I feel like first get good with yourself and really try to understand personally your views on it. And you don't even have to share them all the time. Sometimes it's not appropriate, right? So as we're sorting this out, we become more and more individual and individual. Even though I know we're all part of each other, we also have a very individual path and mission. Okay, and that's part of the age of Aquarius, where we really understand what our personal vision, mission is, and path, and there's an individuality to Aquarians. They're very unique and individual. So even though we're learning, that we're all a part of each other, we're also all separately experiencing things, and then bringing it all back to the whole, maybe bringing that experience back to the whole. But anyway, we're going way out there here. Let's pull it in a bit. Here's the 10th house. So the 10th house, that's the 6 of Pentacles. So the 6 of Pentacles is about things working themselves out. And it's like, drop us a year ahead. We've got the world. Our whole world looks totally different. We're on a whole nother level. And financially, things are getting better and better for us. Well, that's good news, because right now, a lot of people are telling me it looks really dreary for them financially. So I'm really, really happy to see that, because I worry, and you look out there, even at the children, like my children's age, none of them can afford housing. None of them can, like, it's absurd. Like, there's no jobs for them. Here in Canada, there's no jobs for the young people looking for jobs. I mean, yeah, it's crazy out there. They got to create their own thing, and it does push people to be really creative, and that's great. But some people, they need maybe that structured job. It depends on their personality. Not everybody's meant to be a YouTuber or a Rumbler, create their own business. That's not for everybody, right? So there's people out there that really like direction and just want to do something that meaningful, hopefully, and come home and forget all about work. Not everybody's, built the same that way, right? But I feel like a lot of the things we're worried about right now that look really dreary aren't going to be the problem. Even 6 months from now, that looks like things are really clearing up. I feel like we're really moving into that golden age Trump's talking about. I really do. Okay, now look at this card here. Look at this card here. We've got the 8 of Wands. That's like a whole bunch of focused intent and energy. And here we've got the Judgment card. I think there's a lot of things happening all over the world. And if you were watching my Telegram and X, and everybody's Telegram and X, and all the feeds going on social media, you would notice from all over the world, there's things all over the world that they're pushing for change. They're taking down their governments. Like they're absolutely calling out for change with the illegal immigration sort of situation, where they're dumping thousands and thousands, mostly single men, into neighborhoods that have no business being there, don't even want to be there. It makes no sense. Doesn't live in the neighborhood. It takes everybody down, including the people being dumped in there. Okay, and like Trump said, they're not sending their best. And we got plenty of videos to show you that. It's like fascinating. Where are they getting some of these people? It's like, whoa, okay. Yeah, and I truly, I'm a tolerant woman, but some of these things they're showing, and I know it's a big psyop to show the worst of the worst of the worst. I get that, right? But I feel like it's important because there is truth to that. Okay, they're literally purposefully, this was one of the big agendas of 2030 or whatever, the WEFers. Okay, one of their big agendas was to take down countries from within by absolutely replacing them with people they could. So the 1% couldn't really control the middle class. So they've been basically, really short and long of it is, they're just taking out the middle class and replacing it with people from the third world. Okay, they're calling it the third. They created the third world, by the way. Okay, and they purposely created like certain religions to keep people in really conformist sort of mentality. I don't believe in any doctrines. Okay, so I'm not just against Islam or Muslim people, or so don't get me wrong, you guys. What I am against is people that are indoctrined in religions, okay, and think it's like the only thing that they know how to do. Do you know what I mean? Like not thinking for themselves. Okay. And I'm not saying all of the, I have a lot of good friends who are Muslim actually, and most of them aren't at all following the doctrine. Okay. Like, and they actually rally against it, frankly, because when you really nitpick into a lot of these doctrines, and that's all the doctrines, not just theirs. Okay. It ain't pretty, right? So anybody intelligent enough to actually read this stuff, okay, but it seems like they're taking groups of people who are blindly following these religions and dumping them in places all over the world that makes no sense. European cities, big U.S. cities, Canadian cities, all over the world. Actually, they're just moving them in, okay, and these people don't want to integrate into the culture, and they don't want anything to do with it. Like, it's horrifying, and it's all by design. So it's not even their fault. I even think those big religions were created just to create a class of people that they could do this with. This was all by design. This was all by design. All of this was by design. Okay, having a whole group of people who blindly follow something, and it could have been any one of those religious groups, and then dropping them all into places where people were starting, to maybe think for themselves and step away from organized religion and get a little ahead financially. Okay, they can't have that. These weffers and these elites, or, well, so-called elites, deletes. They can't have that. So they're dropping all kinds of people. And we don't know, again, I don't know where they're actually getting some of these people from. It'd be fascinating to find out, where are they sourcing the people from? I'd like to know, right? Fascinating, okay? Because, of course, they're saying here in Canada that they're purposely looking for really well-educated people and people that are, bringing all kinds of skills to Canada. Well, that's just, I can only speak from, a Canadian perspective. That is not the case that's happening. Okay. But I'm sure that's happening all over the world. Okay. It's all a ploy to ruin the neighborhoods and wreak havoc. Okay. And the White Hat Alliance, who've capitulated a lot of these governments, are letting it play out. So people will be outraged, and thank goodness they are being outraged. Sorry, I got a serious black fly situation going. I live really close to farmland, okay, and we got lots of black flies. There's barns really close to where I am, where my place is. So yeah, if I even leave the doors open, it's so hot here, and leaving the doors open, you get all kinds of, I need my fly zapper. I don't know where it is right now, but yeah, I'm going to have to get that going on again. Anyway, I'll get off that tangent and just say those kind of agendas look like they're all going to be outed, and we're in a whole different shape, both financially. So middle class is coming back, and then and to maybe even creating ourselves to be abundant, okay, not just middle class. I don't think they're going to have that class structure in the future. I feel like a lot of us will be able to create abundance, and we're going to need to know how to share it and not just hoard it like these elites have been doing. Okay, they just hoard wealth and worship it, which so we have to put it in perspective. When we have our hands on abundance like that, we have to show the universe, okay, ourselves, our souls, how it's really done. How do you really work with it once you have it? What do you really do with it? Okay, yeah, okay, doing good with it. Okay, we'll have to show an example for the, maybe even other groups out there, other planetary groups, if that's how it is, or other dimensional groups. We're going to be the way showers, I think. Okay, so this is the house of Aquarius, and that's that 8 of Wands I was talking about. And it's across from this Judgment card. And I just really feel like there's so many things. This is kind of what got me on this topic. There's so many things gearing up that could ignite into huge issues. Okay, and that Judgment card, it's really important to notice what is the big stories, what are they focusing on, because then you'll know where we're headed and what's going to be next with what'll be outed, really, truths outed. So many truths outed by just watching what's on the Telegram feed and what's the big stories on X and etc. I feel like you'll really get to understand, okay, what's the next move by the White Hat Alliance. So many things gearing up, and each one of them, as they push these agendas forward, it's like they're building tension to take down these governments. And that's what I believe it'll end in, where the governments get taken down by their own people. And I feel like that's important. Okay, so here we've got the 9 of Wands. So that's, we've had enough. Okay, we've had enough. This card, this guy's like, he's had enough. Okay, he's got one more fight in him, but that's it. That's all he's got. Okay, so I feel like we're really, really, really close to the end of this, where it really turns around, and all of a sudden it's a downhill, like it's an avalanche of information coming out. Yeah, we're all waiting for that. I feel like we're there in September. By the end of September, I feel like we're just teetering right on the edge of the avalanche, ready to just bring it all down in October, even the first week of October. And as we know, that's supposed to be the highest tension value. Cliff High's like little graph on tension values. Last week of September, early October, yeah, it just goes off the charts. And I feel like that's probably what that's talking about there. This is a message from your deep unconscious saying you do have one more fight in you, even if you feel like you don't, you do. So keep up the digital soldiering, and, save your strength for that final push, because it'll really be needed in September. I feel like we'll really have to be. We can't slack off, because we're so close to being at the end of this thing where it just busts out the other side. Let's see what's right in the middle there. So we've got the 5 of Cups. Yeah, now that's interesting. So that's sort of an overview of the mood. Okay, so there could be a lot of disappointed people focusing on what they thought would happen already, what hasn't happened yet, et cetera, et cetera. But this card reminds us to look at what those 2 full cups, what we have, what's actually been created, instead of focusing on what we're losing, what we're leaving behind, what we have to, what we can never go back to. We can never go back to these spilt cups. There's so much of what used to be that was all a lie. We can't go back to it. So the idea with this one is, don't stay focused on what we won't have anymore. Focus on the new that's coming, a more authentic, free, and sovereign world where abundance is more available across the board, and it's not so difficult to achieve, like a livelihood that can feel comfortable, and it's not going to be the grind. I don't think. I feel like we'll have more creative time and more time to really express ourselves and spiritually explore. And we're not just trying to keep up with the Jones, and that was all created by the deep state. That big rat race, that was all created. And I feel like some people might miss that adrenaline. And I'm not saying you won't. I still intend to be an inspired person moving forward, creating and creative. But at least it's not like just to feed your family and house yourself. We'll have more time to actually be creative and because things will be a lot easier. Like what now appears, it looks like our children couldn't even buy a house if they wanted to, or have a piece of land, or be able to afford a vehicle or get around. It honestly looks like, if you look at what's going on out there, it looks like that generation that's all in their 20s and 30s and 40s, they'll have nothing. Okay, they'll be eating bugs and in all their food. And like, if you look at what it looks like out in the news, okay, it looks like the deep state's got control of everything, and they're going to be completely controlled, and they're going to be living in 1984 kind of scenario. Okay, but I feel like that's all being, like, we're being allowed to see that and get really close to that edge, because it won't be like that. Okay, but we do need people to wake up to it. Almost got there, and it was largely us sleeping at the wheel that led it. Okay, so absolutely no sleeping at the wheel with that card there. But the world tells me, I think we're, the worst of this is really, really, really behind us. Whew. Thank goodness. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching this video. Sending everybody ravens. If you're seeing this on anything besides my website, please go over to tarotbyjanine.com and support me on my website. Thanks everybody who does already. Bye-bye.
Yeah, I'm having there. Okay.
There, and Cliff High's in the chat. Hello, Cliff.
Thanks for telling me that. You guys are awesome. It's like, I couldn't see what I was doing there. Okay, there and there. How's that? Okay.
Cliff High takes a lot of room in our world. You're right. Don't worry, Cliff. We love you. We just want to see the cards.
Yeah. Now.
Is that better for the card view than yesterday? We had trouble yesterday. You're happy with that? Good. Okay.
Yeah. It's a work in progress here, hey?
Yeah.
Okay, so first thing I got, and this is everybody in the room, because that's how you asked it, yeah?
Yeah.
So they're coming up, their archetypal card is the Chariot. So moving really fast, even feeling a little reckless. There's a reckless movement, not in a bad way, because it's really well aspected with the King of Swords in the middle, sharing of information, journalistic card. This is a group who's done their research, it looks like. Okay, so I won't include myself in that because I just let all of my followers give me information. Like, they're the researchers, and I admit that 100%. Like, everything I come up with to look at is from my Tarot by Janine peoples. Yeah, so I just don't, I'm not taking credit where credit's not due, but I'm talking about you guys, and you're the researchers. So the card in the middle says there's a lot of fair, just, and good and intelligent people doing a lot of research. And then we've got the Seven of Cups, and it was upside down, so I thought I'd leave it there. And I usually don't read upside down, but I had a feeling it needed to be that way. So I'll just say that's representing what we're bringing, which is interesting, because it's like we're trying to sort through the muckety muck. Like, think about the layers and layers of lies and deception. Like we watched, people watched on television, Mark Carney just recently signing what was he signing? Doing something that Trump does, because he's trying to copy Trump. Like, it was pure theater, because Canadian government doesn't do that. They don't sit there and sign things in front of TV cameras. Like, it was the most foolish thing I've ever seen. Like, it's such theater playing out, and I feel like that's what we're doing is we're trying to, get through this muck and sort out, but it's hard. We're trying to find a truth in the thickness of lies and deception that we've been living for, it sounds like, some Kali Yugas. Is that what they're called? Yeah. Right? So we've been living through ages of this stuff, and we're just coming up out of it. That's what it sounds like. So Jay was telling us all about that last night. And by the way, I loved that. How he presented was awesome. It was just like a real Taurus. He just moved right into it. No introduction.
It was like a bull in a china shop.
A bull in a china shop. I loved it. Okay. Anyway. So the past is the Ace of Pentacles. So Ace of Pentacles is everybody already lived lifetimes. That's what I feel like we are coming from. So everybody in the group we're talking about is already coming from some solid work they've done on themselves and got to a personal place where they feel like this is important, and they're actually looking at doing their work for the world. So they've already done enough work on themselves that they can actually come together and want to make the world a better place. So they've already done some work. To even be in this group, you would have had to. So I commend you guys for that. And then of course there's that truth and integrity card in the middle, but a lot of research. What was the question again, Jean-Claude? Forgot.
Sounds familiar.
Sorry.
So how we individually and collectively, this group, are having an effect on the world,
Okay.
as Penny said.
Okay, I think I had that in the back of my mind. So the next thing that happens, so this is a little setback, and I think we got this yesterday. Mm-hmm. There's going to be some kind of an emotional setback, and we've all heard about it before. Penny even warned us about it. Maybe people are going to be a little upset with the Trump team. It's already rearing its head a little with the Epstein stuff getting held up and et cetera. Okay, even though we see all the things he is doing or they are doing, there's things they're not doing that seem really important right now. We want to talk about the stolen children and hideous things that happens to the kids and stuff like that, right? And that's not being talked about enough, in my opinion. Okay, so I feel like this group also feels the need for things to move forward, but of course we're, relying on a lot of other things going on, and if we don't have this all sorted out. That Seven of Cups upside down is we don't have the clear vision of everything. We're missing some parts, even though we're doing our research, or you're all doing your research, and you're moving fast and trying to catch up to what's really going on, and you've worked really hard on yourself. There's still so many layers of deception that we're going to be surprised still. That's what it tells me. And this is the advice here. We've got the Ace of Cups. So keep an open heart going forward and use creative methods to bring forward, what your vision is for our future. And the Star. Also, we could be talking with the Star there. So there's an element missing, and it has something to do with, let's say the aliens. So I feel like there's going to be input from the aliens, and I feel like, and or otherworldlies or other dimensionals, and I feel like this group is attracting that input. So people doing the kind of work you guys are all doing on yourselves and out in the world and all your research is attracting attention from otherworldlies, and they're good ones. And I feel like maybe they're seeing the evolution and thinking maybe it's time to come say hi. They've been trying to, get through to us through our governments, and that wasn't very successful. We found out what those guys have been up to. And I feel like they're going to directly be contacting, and I got a feeling it's what we're all doing is going to attract some attention from that group.
Fascinating. Thank you. Penny, can you see the cards okay?
Yeah, well
Do you
enough.
want to add? Do it.
You want me to say something? A couple
Yeah.
things. When I look at that middle card, that King of Swords, that's really a powerful card about knowing. Swords is about intellect. And then the two cards on either side of it, that Chariot is a pusher. That's like, okay, take your pick. You're going which way? To the white or to the dark? And the other one, that was upside down. And when I saw that, it was like, oh, everything is going to be dumped out all at one time. And we're going to have way too much to try to digest or deal with. And it's going to come from everywhere. So we can turn that up right if we want, but it still says that information about all sorts of things is going to come out, and it's going to push people. The Chariot, it's going to, it's going to have that effect. So, and then the bottom cards, the Five of Cups there, to me, that's always the card of crying over spilt milk, wishing for the old times, hoping that we can reestablish this, that, or whatever. And that's really not a good approach for this time. So the cups are, look, follow your heart. The Ace of Cups especially. Pay attention to your heart. What do you want? And most people, when I ask that, they don't know. Think about that. I have 3 or 4 pages of single space. I want this, I want that, I want this, I want this. Write your stuff down. And then the star, isn't that 17?
Yep.
Yeah. To me, that says, uh-oh. It's a double-edged message. Not only politically, 17 means something very specific for those who have been following the political thing. It also is a number that 17 got its information from sources that were not, we'll say, your ordinary sources. They got their information from technology that is from off-planet. It has been extremely helpful, sometimes to the minute, sometimes to the day, sometimes to the hour. That information lined up that they predicted 5 years ago. And so that says to me that is working, that the effort to inform people ahead of time has been of great help, and that we will shine like the stars because of it, and we will join the stars because of it. So that's it.
Thank you. Wow. I told you they're good together. Janine, do you want to do a clarifier also, or you want to redirect on that first? Go ahead.
Yeah, a little redirect. So thank you, Penny. I love that you pointed out that there's a 17 on the star.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because when I first read on the Q group, my buddy Guy, who was all informed about that and been following it since 2017, or since the very first drop, whenever that was, he was all over it. But he never told me about it. I had no idea about it and knew nothing about it. And he asked me about the Q group, and I did get, like live on that video that we did, I got that they were otherworldly as well as maybe military and civilian, but it felt like there was a group of 3, including off-worlders. And I feel like maybe Penny filled that part in because I missed that. Yeah, that like you're attracting attention from off-worlders, but maybe also the Alliance Q group.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and or all of the above.
Very well said. Thank you. And there's a reason the lounge next door is called the Q17 Lounge.
I saw that.
Nobody asked me about that this weekend. I was surprised. I thought
It was,
you guys all knew, of course. The hotel staff asked me, why Q17? I'm like, it's okay. Too much to explain. Okay. Okay, Janine, can we do a clarifier if you want to add 2 more cards there?
Yep.
Perhaps for advice moving forward here. or what we need to expect or what we should do with this, because this little setback and this big dumping of information could rattle maybe even the best of us. We still don't know what we don't know in terms of information that could be revealed. And although we say all the time, we're ready, JC, just tell us, well, maybe. I know myself, maybe sometimes we're not. So we need to accustom and acclimatize to all this information. But we also have to go through this process, both individually and collectively, of having to deal with the people around us who, for them, this information is going to be absolutely catastrophic. You guys have been going through a red pill process for years. There are people, definitely not in this room, but in your lives who have not even begun the red pill process. And when this big dumping, as Penny was saying here with the upside down cups, comes, they're going to be erratic. They're going to be the slack-jawed people in your life. They might get very angry. So you're going to have to play a role, and you're going to have to be a rock in that stormy sea for these people. So Janine, what's the advice there on how to deal with this?
Can everybody see those two I pulled?
Hold on, I'll bring it up. Go ahead.
Yeah, there we go. That's the way I dealt with that. Okay, so the Two of Cups was the first card I pulled, and it's often a self-love and or come together and make an agreement and be really loving towards each other or towards the parts of yourself. So loving your ego self, body self, as well as like the soul loving the physical self. So the coming together and self-loving. So there's that, and also coming together and having each other's backs, I guess, right? So because we're soul connected. Remember, we've been getting that, you know, I don't know if you believe this or not, but I feel like we're a soul family. I really do. So I think we've had lifetimes, yeah. So that makes sense because it can be a past life connection card for me anyway, the way I see it. And this 5, so there's going to be some, like we keep getting this, there's going to be a glitch coming up, like a little bump, one of those bumps in the roads. And there could be, again, which happens a lot in the truther community and in our communities, inner fighting or feeling like defeatist thinking or that black pilling and all of that. I have a feeling we're going to need to try to be loving first to self and then with each other and kind with each other, because some big squabbles might bust out. And we see that every once in a while in the comments, and people are beating on each other with comments and stuff. And we're a soul family. So that came first. So I think we got to remember that. So I don't know if that answered the question, but remember you're a soul family. And sometimes soul family even gets mad at each other or offended by something someone else said. Let's try to oversee that, see the big picture, and let people have their opinion, but also be sort of with, when you want to share your opinion, to do it, you know, as at least kindly as possible. You can be direct, but not mean, I guess. Yeah.
Penny, you want to add to that advice on how to deal with
The
this?
only thing I would add, because I agree with that Two of Cups 100%, but the 5, that 5 of Swords, that's like 5 is a turning point. It's having to make a decision. And that always, to me, is a card of having to decide to walk away. There's a couple of cards in there that are like that, but that one is like, based on the information that we have gotten, we have to, this is the only choice that makes sense. So we may come to something like that. And if that involves family, that's hard. So give yourself some space. Okay?
I'd like to add one more to that too. I met a young lady during the conference who, similar to our stories, has had many challenges stepping into their mission because their family was not supportive of it. And I understand how difficult that is. You mentioned that at the beginning of the show, Janine, also. Can you speak to that? How do you deal with these family members when you're starting to realize your mission, you're starting to embark on that embodiment and that frequency, but yet out of the gate, the people closest to you that you would need to support you are the ones that are detracting you from stepping into that mission. It's very difficult. What would you say to them to encourage them passing through that first hurdle?
Well, if you're the mother, you have an advantage. It's not much, but the thing that I found was I had to not push any ideas on anybody. I had to maintain my own dignity around those ideas and not be apologetic. It's like, well, yeah, this is what I see. We'll see what happens. And then I had to learn to ask some very strategic questions. Well, what are you going to do if? Well, what are you going to do when? And they didn't always answer. And students, same thing. What happens? How are you going to feel if that doesn't work out or doesn't go that way? And they didn't have to answer, but the question was dangling, and that works on people. Once it's in your consciousness, it's in there. So that's basically, and the other thing was when I started 45 years ago, you just didn't say anything. It was like, no. And so you did what you did, and you did it very quietly. And when people noticed, it was like, oh, wow, somebody noticed. So, yeah, you wait. Have to be patient. So,
Patience.
any better?
Yeah. Janine?
More ideas?
I agree totally with what Penny said, especially around the children, right? Because I got 2 kids who basically, at first at least, didn't want to hear any of this stuff. And then my son came around because TikTok was saying the same thing as Mom was saying. A bunch of people,
Suddenly you were cool.
all of a sudden it was, now he thinks it's, in fact, I've been sending him pictures from the conference. He's like, wow. Right, my mom's on stage. How cool is that? Yeah, he was so surprised. But anyway, and lots of family members still won't even talk to me. So for those ones, I just drop things in the group chat. I can't even believe they haven't excommunicated me out of the group chat. But those get literally like crickets on any of the things I drop in there, and nobody ever comments on them. And then somebody says something else, then the whole conversation starts again, but it's never about anything I put in there. Yeah, so I just do what I can, and like Penny said, I just keep on staying true to myself, talking about it, doing my thing, and I'm not really worried about what anyone else thinks about it. Like, who cares?
Bingo.
Yeah.
You can't. What was that?
What was it you just said?
I said bingo.
Bingo. Okay.
You can't.
Yes.
You
right.
can't worry about what other people think.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it interferes with your thinking, and then you get all screwed up.
Good point. Speaking of the Q17 Lounge, I want to take this opportunity also to thank Andy Scheckman from Miles Franklin Precious Metals. They sponsored the lounge and really gave me the footing to embark on the huge contracts that are involved in creating a big event like that that were very scary to me at the time. It was our first contract. We didn't know what to expect. And so thank you, Andy. I don't know if you're still in the room. Thank you so much for supporting us. And guys, if you need gold and silver, of course, he's the man. If you're looking for self-directed IRAs also, I believe, in the States, he can help you with that. And also storage of your precious metals. So check him out at milesfranklin.com. Thank you, Andy. Might as well also thank C60, Purple Power, and Pure Bulk. The reason I chose those affiliate programs at the beginning was, well, one, I was being bombarded by all of these companies who wanted to sell products on our website and through our shows. They recognized that we had a very engaged audience looking at the numbers and the metrics on our shows. And I was very reluctant to accept any of them, honestly. I didn't know who they were. It seemed a little flaky at best. And I was having trouble, but at the same time, I was demonetized. And I needed to make sure that, Janine and I can keep the lights on, buy the equipment, and be able to do the 20-hour-a-day research so that we can move forward. So both C60 and Pure Bulk helped me because it was resonating with me. And I said, well, if we are going to go through this process of becoming a new human, and that's going to be part of your talk this evening, I wanted to make sure that we had the foundations. And so if we were looking for affiliate programs, I want it to be something that we could actually need. So the financial stability of investing in your own wealth with Andy was a pure fit. And then investing in your own health with both C60 and Pure Bulk was also absolutely a good fit, because again, there, we need to be strong. We need to sleep well. I haven't slept much this week. It's not because the Pure Sleep is not working, it's just because there's a lot going on. But we need to take care of our bodies. And those two were absolutely amazing to me. Very good sponsors. Again, they've helped me out a great deal for this conference. And a lot of what you see here might not have happened if I didn't have their commitment since day one to support me in creating this. So thank you both, Dorothy and Roger Clay from Pure Bulk, and also Ken Schwartz at C60. Thank you. So Penny, I mentioned at the beginning of the show, this phrase that comes to mind, I'm just one man, what can I do? And you said, I'm going to cry, JC.
Yeah.
Why are you going to cry?
Yeah. So there was a point where I quit. I tried to quit. And I'm very skilled at getting out of the body. And so I went to visit my teacher and I said, you don't understand about these people. They are something else. They're not like what I'm used to. This is impossible. This is not going to work. And he's a master of the eyes. That's my training, is becoming a master of the eyes. And he turned his eyes off, which means you do not exist anymore. And I got all frantic, I got all upset, and I left, I came back, and I cried for 3 days. And then finally, I was listening to the radio one morning, I turned it on thinking maybe something would cheer me up. And I hear this song, What One Man Can Do. And I said, okay, I'll do what I can. And it started to feel doable. And so I've kept on. I've had a few signs. A long time later, I'm going to say a decade later, maybe not quite a decade, but close to it. I walked out in the backyard one night. It was midnight. I forgot to close the chicken coop. And it was like, the coons are going to get it. And so I ran out the back door. It was one of those nights that was just perfect weather. The sky was clear. And I glanced up and I see the Pleiades coming up over the horizon. And I was like, And I had this thought, okay, I know you've abandoned me. If I just had one little sign, and I have a 30 by 100 foot greenhouse, and the whole thing lit up like there was a sun inside of it. And of course, my logic was, who's in the greenhouse? And then my next logic was, is somebody driving through the orchard and their car lights are shining through the greenhouse? And then
stop it with that. I'm looking for a sign.
Yeah. So, and then it dawned on me, oh my God, that is the sign. And so then I was like, okay, all right, I'll keep going. And so I have, I had almost a duplicate story of JC's. This isn't working, trying to put some platform together and nothing's working, and all the plugins you bought are just garbage. And then all of a sudden, boom, one day it was all done. So I kept on going. And I've had a lot of fun. This is very different from farm life. And so this is like my alternate life. Teaching. I love teaching. So.
And by the way, if you guys want to learn more about intuition and how to develop it, we have a brand new series. It's called now Intuition Fridays, I believe.
Yeah.
Intuition Fridays. It used to be Mondays, but now it's Fridays with the beautiful Ashala and Penny Kelly. So you can check that out, of course, on our Rumble feed. And if you're really serious about it, go to pennykelly.com there and you'll find the whole intuition series workshops and classes there as well.
Actually, I have a new platform. It's not pennykelly.com anymore. Well, you can still go to pennykelly.com. But to buy the classes, it'll refer you to my school, which is mycocolife.com.
How do you call it? Coco?
My Coco Life. Yeah, it stands for Community of Consciousness Online. So mycocolife.com.
mycocolife.com.
Yeah.
Coco, if you can type that into the chat and put it on the screen, that'd be great.
Yeah, we weren't copying.
No, that's okay. Okay. Do you want to add to that story?
Well, actually, I do. So was it last night we were talking about how we came to this?
Yes.
And Jean-Claude was telling stories about sort of the backstepping and then fear. And then I said, oh, I wasn't afraid. Then I thought about it, went, okay, how do I manifest? So, of course, I had moments. So I just want to clear that up and tell you how does it manifest in me? So it doesn't feel the same as how Jean-Claude described it for him. But I was also like putting a child, I had the one son still through school and single parenting. So I was like, when I did step away, of course, I always listen to my higher self, and it said you have to be a truther and drop all your clients. Gave it 3 months, but the how I manifest the fear part is I get mad and or demanding of the universe, and it really works. Like if you do it properly, like okay, so. Here's what I do, and I do it all the time, and I'm telling you, my neighbors will tell you that used to be across from me in the housing co-op I brought my kids up in Calgary, Sunnyside Housing Co-op. I brought my kids up there, and there's these big balconies, and I used to go out on the balcony on the regular and do this exact stance. So I won't stand up and do it because it'll cut my head off for the video footage, okay? I can see that, and the people viewing, and hi everybody out there viewing from all over the place. They won't see me, so they won't be happy about that. But I stand exactly in the stance that the magician is standing, and he's got his wand there, and I do have a wand. Actually, I have several wands that I use, but I have one in particular. I just found a really nice stick. Like, I don't even know what kind of wood it is, but I feel like it's been my wand for years. And I hold it up. So one hand up. So it's like I'm drawing energy from the universe, and then the other hand's manifesting on the earth plane. So I'm going to be the channeler. Yeah, I'm channeling. So I'm going to channel what the universe, because I've agreed to do that my whole life. So that part never gets scary. If it tells me I have to be a truther, that's what I got to do. But my human self gets scared, and then I go out on the balcony and I demand that if I'm doing this, and I make the stance, and that's when the neighbors look at me weird, but whatever. And I say, universe, I'm agreeing to do this, but you darn well better take care of us, because there's no way I want to be poor single mom again like I was the first time around with my daughter. Like, I'm just not doing that again. It was all very interesting to be a hippie mom, but with barefoot and pregnant with my daughter, and then living on the beach with $350 a month income, not that fun sometimes. It was hard, but it was also fun. There was a lot of fun things about it, but I just don't want to do that again. So I go out there when I got scared of, okay, I just got kicked off YouTube. all those things. And then I would just demand that the universe shows me a sign. And so you saying that about signs just makes sense. And always the wind picks up or something. I always get a sign. Like, I can't even remember the kind of signs, but I get them, and I got them all along, and that's how I dealt with it.
What was that hand position you were doing again? And Penny, can you do it too? Doesn't it look like this one?
What does it look like?
Look at the screen.
That's a good one.
Do you guys think I look like John Travolta? I used to get that a lot as a kid. So join us tonight for the disco party. Yes, we're all going to manifest together. I couldn't resist that one. What's that?
Yeah.
Kind of. I don't have the white pants though. All right. We're going to have fun tonight. You know, somebody told me earlier tonight, when I started organizing this, I was kind of testing the model for the conference. And in my mind, I kept seeing, there's going to be a lot of dancing. And a lot of people came back to me and was like, oh, no, JC, your crowd's too old. Nobody's going to want to dance. And I'm like, no, I see it in my mind. Like, it's clear as day. Like, I didn't know why, but I'm like, I was committed. Like, no, this has to be a party. I wasn't sure what it was, but I was convinced. And I'm like, I'm going to spend a lot of money here. And Andy, again, thank you for the room next door and helping me out with that. And the entertainers, but like, we need to dance. And I spoke to this young woman earlier, as doing the rounds. And yes, and she says, oh my God, what was your name? Colleen. Do you want to say to everybody what you said?
Yes, I basically just told him thank you because I didn't think in 2020 we would be dancing again as a group. And then
Right. And so yes, and another person told me it felt as though they were dancing away all the negative energy. Dancing is grounding also. Yes. So join us tonight for the manifesting. Okay. When I started using my psychic skills again, 2008, 2009, in my reawakening, I told the story the other day of why I had put that aside. But when I started again, I faced a lot of fears of dealing with the reaction of people. Because for me, it was a lot of, there was dead people involved. Like, in that movie, I see dead people. So I had to tell people about their past loved ones. And I was being called to share with them information that they needed to know. And strangers, out of the blue, I was being called and directed to. So I did a few videos on this and explained the stories. It's neither for here or now, but I was afraid of doing that. And it was very uncomfortable to tell, strangers about their dead loved ones. And I realized after maybe 2 or 3 attempts, which, I was sweating bullets, I felt uncomfortable, and that once I had the other side of the conversation to where they made the realization that they needed to make, that the information had hit home for some reason, and what they told me in return was so overwhelmingly powerful that I then realized, okay, the result or the success or the benefits of using those skills for the highest good of the situation involved far, far, far outweigh my little fears about being humiliated or sweating or, being shy about using those skills. Can you speak to that, Penny?
Yeah. From my point of view, that it's the people that I watch blossom that keeps me going. That's the whole joy. There's things that I'd like to communicate, but when you see somebody stop hurting, when you see somebody start understanding, when you watch somebody teach somebody else because they got it, and I always tell my students, you have to pass this on to at least one other person before you leave here. That is so rewarding. There's no amount of money that makes up for that. So it's a gift that comes back to you 1,000-fold.
Mm-hmm. Well said. Janine, can we pull cards on that? And maybe what universe needs the audience to know about how they can go about whether it's psychic skills or their medicine. We often talk about, Janine and I, bringing your medicine to the tribe. And it's the same thing. Whatever that is in your community, whatever you represent in that community, you have to bring that to the community. You have to pull your own weight. And as the old world is crumbling and we are set to build this new world, and again, can't wait to hear your speech tonight, we do, each and every one of us have a big role in bringing our particular medicine to this new world. And we're all going to have to go through that same fear of being ridiculed, shamed, ostracized, because maybe right now it's not popular to have your medicine with the way the world works, but it is very much needed. And if you're guided to share it, it's because it's absolutely important in this new world and how we are going to all become new humans. And so I want to know, Janine, the advice on how to go through that fear and bring that medicine to the tribe.
Okay. So we've got the Eight of Swords first, which could be like hesitancy. This person knows something, swords are thoughts and words, but they're either pretending they don't or in denial somehow, right? That's why they're loosely tied and have something over their eyes. They're denying something they know, or going with, well, nobody told me I had to do it, so I'll just pretend I don't know that sort of thing, right? So they're not utilizing what they know for fear maybe, right? So that they're a little stuck. Okay, so that could be a lot of people's sort of way of dealing with it, right? And then here we've got the Nine of Wands, which is like, I feel like we're really close to when that won't be a problem anymore. When I saw as soon as I saw the cards layout, I feel like this row here, and we're coming from when it wasn't okay to even talk about it, burning times and witch burning times and all of those kind of things. A lot of us came from places like that, or like Jean-Claude remembers the government always rounding them up, or some kind of officialdom. I'm sure a lot of us have those kind of past lives, right? Okay, so that's what that Two of Swords is. It wasn't even possible to say anything. Now, some of us might be making some of these excuses or just walking away because you think maybe you don't have what it takes, or you don't really have, skills in front of a camera, or whatever you think you're going to need, right? But now it's getting almost impossible with that Nine of Wands to not, okay? And I feel like moving forward just one step at a time, because the Knight of Cups slowly just follows their heart, and the cards around it are supporting that we're getting to a time when 2 8s around it. It's actually, you're in a stronger position to say something now, and it's more supported with the Eight of Pentacles and the Eight of Wands. It's almost like we're coming to, and very quickly, coming into a time when you're invited to and look to for advice even, and you're going to need to talk, and it'll be a lot easier to follow your heart and your honest information and come out of this stuck place.
Thank you. Penny?
Yeah. Just a couple of comments. That bottom, all the wands changing, all those wands without any person on it, that's just a whole bunch of changes coming at us. Boom, 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 boom. And that's a benefit, because when people are under stress from change, they're open. So that's the moment you can maybe drop a nickel in the slot. So, be watching for that. And then people having to work at staying alive, the pentacles over on the left, that's really, okay, we have to do something different. We have to find new crafts. We have to find new tactics, new ways of handling the material things of life. And that's another big distraction, and that leaves people open as well. And don't forget that consciousness is the thing that underlies whatever the advice is. And most people need advice when dealing with real things. Food, what to eat for dinner, what to wear, how to fix the door or repair the car, or, is it time for this or time for that? All of those are real things. And that's where you can maybe have an impact by just being agreeable, being helpful, coming up with a new solution instead of the same old thing. So people are ready. They will be ready. And I think that that's really the thing we have to be watching for.
Very good. Thank you. So we have a few minutes left in this segment. So I think what I'm going to do is first ask Penny Kennedy why she said yes to coming to this conference and what her intention is for this evening's keynote address. And then we'll finish off with maybe another card pull or some advice from Janine at the end of the show. So we have about 7 minutes left on the segment. So what did you say yes when I invited you? Why are you so excited about this?
I don't know.
You know, she almost didn't make it. Did you tell the story?
No, I didn't tell. I heard that some people heard that you said something.
Yeah, I said something.
Yeah, I hung up the phone. I think you called.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe a Sunday morning and said, hey, could you be the keynote? And I was like, yeah, sure, bye. And then afterwards I thought, about what? And so it was one of those, what is this about? And so that was really the first I heard about a conference. But I thought, well, I said, yes, I'm going. I had a little bit of excitement getting here. So I just called my son and left a message. Hey, would you send me a picture of my passport? So in case I need it to get back in my own country, I can do that. But yeah, it was, I figured out a way to get navigation. I got my navigation quit in the middle of nowhere on the Trans-Canada Highway. It's like, okay.
Tell them about the border officers who are asking you, where are you going?
Oh.
What's it called? What are you going to talk about?
Yeah, so I had 3 or 4 interviews from different people at the border, and they're like, why didn't you bring your passport? And I said, well, because I didn't think I needed one. This is just Canada, and I didn't get a good look from that, And when I
51st date, never mind. Trump said.
So then the next guy says, pull over right up here to the wall. I'm like, oh, they're going to shoot me?
You're like, uh-oh.
Yeah. So then they asked some more questions and then said, we want your driver's license. And I gave it to them. And so then they said, take this and all these papers and go in here. So I went in this room and then they said, where are you going? I said, well, I'm going to a conference. What's the conference name? It's Jean-Claude's conference. And I don't know. And I realized by the look on their face that I needed to say more. I said, it's the Beyond Mystic Woo Conference. They didn't really know what to say. So then they said, well, where's your invitation? And I'm like, okay. Well, I think I have one on my computer, but really there wasn't one.
No.
It was just verbal.
Called you.
So then they said, what are you going to talk about? This was the next person. I said, consciousness. And there again, dead silence. And then somebody said, why did they ask you? So I was like, uh-oh. And then I stumbled a lot. Well, I don't really talk about this a whole lot because nobody's ever interested in consciousness. And, but so they then said, well, what do you do for a living? So then it was like, well, I almost said which lifetime, but I thought I better not say that. So then I said, well, basically I'm a writer, but I'm also a farmer. I'm a naturopathic physician. I used to be an engineer, in case that was impressive. They didn't care. And
that they understood.
Yeah, well, they did understand that. Yeah. I said, and then I said, oh, and I'm on YouTube and Rumble, and by that time eyes were rolling, and I was like, okay. So I said, I've done some research into consciousness. I'm just going to share what I see. And there was one young girl who said at that point, I'm very interested in consciousness. And I was like, oh, an ally.
This one.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
But she didn't say much more. So So they asked me some more questions. Yeah. So I ended up answering a few more questions. How long are you going to be there? Did I have something that I could show them in terms of like the invitation? I said, well, I have to go out to the car and get my computer and fire it up. And at that point, they said, just go. So I got in my car and left. It was like, oh my.
Start the car
Yeah.
before they change their mind.
I know. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I had a little bit of trouble getting on there. I went the wrong way down a one-way thing, and I was thinking, I hope they're not watching. So,
Like, who is
but
this
I
woman?
made it. I made it.
Well, yes, you made it. Thank you so much, Penny, for being here. Yes, give her a big hand of applause. It came this close. All the organizing staff were like, oh no, we're missing a keynote. Oh no, we have to reschedule the bookings. Oh no, it's going to be a nightmare. And I was like, no, it's going to be okay. Don't worry. It's
Yeah,
gonna happen.
thank
It's gonna
you.
happen. And then you called me. It's like, we just made it through.
Yeah, I did have to ask, after 2 hours of sitting there waiting, it's like, help, I need help, you guys. And nothing happened right away. So I sent John Cloud a message at that point. And then right after that, it's like, Miss Kelly. So then they let me go. So, yeah.
Thank you for sharing that, Penny. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Janine, how do you want to end the show? Do you want to do a reading? Do you want to talk about, share an anecdote? Do you want to thank some people? I know, it seems like this conference is never ending in the sense that we're up 24 hours a day, literally. And it feels like it's going by so fast. And I would like to have a whole other week to be able to have more conversations, but we're running out of time. And so next conference, yes, next one. Yes, I need some sleep. So yes, thank you. At some point, maybe next week. But is there anything you want to share now that maybe you haven't had the opportunity and you don't want to miss the opportunity before we go?
Well, I did see in the comments, someone was asking if the magician card has to be the left. Is it important to have the left hand up or the right hand up? And I always put the left up and the right down because the left's intuitive knowing, even though the left, the far left politically isn't, right? But the left in my mind anyway is more intuitive, and I always get people to work with their left hand when they use the cards. And I always try to cut the cards with my left. So I put the left hand up, but this is just me, and I don't think there's rules, right? I don't buy rules. If you have a reason why the right should go up, you do it, right? I'm not going to tell you how to do your magician stance, right? But I go left hand up.
Phổ biện, người thân, toàn bộ đều ở trong quân của Lý Dạ Ẩn. Lý Dạ Ẩn được gã phái lách đi từ cánh tả quay về tấn công bọc sườn Sa Doanh. Mà lúc này cánh tả lại có vô số quan binh, binh mã của Lý Dạ Ẩn đâu. Dương Hổ quay đầu lại nhìn Dịch Tần Phong ở đằng xa đang chỉ huy binh mã không ngừng phát động những đợt tiến công vô vọng về phía Sa Doanh đầy đủ đạn dược, trong lòng bi thương vô hạn. Lâu ngày mới biết yên tâm, huynh đệ tốt thật sự nói nghĩa khí, vẫn là những huynh đệ thổ túc cùng vào sinh ra từ ở Bá Châu Sơn Trại. Những người khác có mấy ai tin được chứ? Đã hét to một tiếng, vung thương đẩy về mấy cây trường thương đang đâm tới, nhưng lập tức lại có một rừng mũi thương sắc bén từ bốn phương, tám hướng đâm về phía gã. Mũi thương sắc bén lại ở xa, đâm tới liên hồi, mặc cho võ công của gã có cao cường cũng không thể đồng thời chọi lại nhiều trường thương như vậy. Dương Hổ không biết làm sao, đành phải vừa đánh vừa lui. Quan binh xung quanh cũng nhìn ra người này là thủ lĩnh, đặc biệt gã chỉ có một con mắt, trông cực kỳ giống tên đại thủ lĩnh Dương Hổ của Bạch Y Quân mà quan phủ dán hàng công bố thiên hạ. Chính Đức Hoàng đế từng dán trên hoàng bảng nữa. Phạm là người giết chết thủ lĩnh thổ phỉ lưu lục Dương Hổ, thường vạn kim, dân phong bá tước, quan thăng bá cấp. Vì cái gọi là có trọng thường tất có vĩnh phu, làm binh vốn dĩ đã là liều mạng, nhưng liều mạng với Dương Hổ có giá trị. Nếu như là 1 đối 1, bọn họ không có gan, nhưng bốn phương tám hướng có mấy mươi cây thương chào đón Dương Hổ, liền cho nhau thêm can đảm rồi. Không ngừng qua đó vận khí tốt, đâm lên ngực gã một cái lỗ thủng. vậy thì phát đạt thôi, công danh lợi lộc đến cửa như vậy, ai nỡ bỏ gã cho được. Dịch Tần Phong một mặt chỉ huy bạch y quân điều mạng tấn công xa lũy chiến doanh ở tiền phương, một mặt chú ý nhìn động tính bên phía đại ca. Mắt thấy gã bị con binh bao vây trùng trùng, Dịch Tần Phong vội vàng hút ngựa tới cứu. Binh khí dài y dùng là một cây cương xoa hai mũi, y cầm lên múa như trong chóng. Dịch Tần Phong đánh thẳng một mạch đến bên cạnh Dương Hổ, cùng gã kề vai chiến đấu, vừa đánh vừa lui. Đúng lúc này, trên Hỏa Quán Sơn, cánh hữu cũng xuất hiện con binh tiếp viện đang vung đao thương đuổi xuống dưới núi. Dịch Tần Phong nhìn thấy tình thế không ổn, vội vàng hét to: Hổ ca, tình hình không ổn, tiến thêm nữa chỉ sợ thật sự là một con đường chết, chúng ta lui đi. Lưu Vinh chỉnh đốn trước rồi lại quyết định đi sâu sau. Dương Hổ cười thảm một tiếng thầm nghĩ, công Hà Nam Kinh để dựng chân đã là hy vọng cuối cùng rồi, nếu không làm được thì còn có thể đi về đâu. Nhưng kế hoạch lui binh của Dịch Tần Phong đã lại đồng ý. Hiện tại quân binh vây kín ba mặt, bạch y quân ba mặt thù địch, chỉ có đột phá vòng vây đi ra. Cho dù ba đường quân binh hợp thành một đường, có thể cùng giao phong với gã cũng chỉ có kẻ địch chính diện. Ưu thế nhân số của quân binh không còn nữa. Dương Hồ hít sâu một hơi quát: rút lui, lập tức rút lui về đạo sĩ lĩnh, trình đốn quân rồi đánh tiếp. Hai người liền dẫn đầu đi trước, đằng xa có một tinh tiểu xảo trá chờ thời cơ thăng quan phát tài, từ đầu đến cuối luôn ở trong đám người phía sau, không xông lên phía trước, trong tay cầm cung đứng đó chờ cơ hội. Vừa thấy hai người thúc ngựa quay đầu lại, tên quan binh kia mừng rỡ lập tức giương cung bắn tên, một mũi tên ngầm thình lình bay tới. Vút một tiếng, tên không bắn trúng Dương Hồ nhưng lại trúng giữa lưng của Dịch Tần Phong. Cũng may lực tay của tên quân binh kia có hạn, mũi tên này không nguy hiểm đến tính mạng. Dịch Tần Phong kêu lên một tiếng trầm đục, bất chấp rút mũi tên ra chữa thương, còn nén đau đớn dẫn bại binh lui về phía sau. Tên binh sĩ bắn một tên nọ ảo não cực kỳ, oán giận buông trường cung xuống, nhặt một cây thương trúc dài tên, vừa đuổi vừa mắng: còn mẹ đó, ca lớn không vét được lại vét trúng mấy con tép. Đại quân của Dương Hổ muốn chạy trốn, quan binh không có cách nào, bọn họ dù có kỵ binh nhưng mà nhân số có hạn, cũng không thể phái ra truy kích được, chỉ có thể trơ mắt nhìn đại quân của Dương Hổ quay đầu bỏ chạy. Ba đạo viện quan đều tự kết trận, sau đó từ từ tiến lên truy tung công ta. Cùng lúc đó có mấy lộ viện quân khác, lớn có nhỏ có, cũng đang đi về phía này. Bạch y quân ai lấy cũng đã máu. Điều khiến người ta chán nản hơn là sĩ khí do Dương Hổ dùng tiền vàng cùng mỹ sắc được khích lệ đã biến mất hầu như không còn. Đào binh ngồi trên ngựa đã hoàn toàn không còn khí khái dũng mãnh, không sợ đó nữa. Lo lắng hoảng sợ rút lui 20 dặm, mắt thấy đã đến đạo sĩ lĩnh, còn trên đạo sĩ lĩnh bốc khói vang lên một tràng chống trận. Trong phút chốc chỉ thấy cờ bay phấp phới, mấy ngàn người cầm cung nỏ từ phía sau sườn núi xông ra. Có tàn binh bị gã đánh lui, còn có dân tráng của Mao Sơn Trấn, ai nấy đều rước mắt hổ từ trên đỉnh núi lạnh lùng nhìn xuống bạch y quân đã tan tác chạy qua đây. Chuẩn bị cung tiễn, bắn. Một tràng vun vút vang lên, mưa tên xối xả như châu chấu đầy trời. Triệu Phong Tử đã hành động. Ngày dự định đã đến, y liền lập tức thoát khỏi đại quân của Dương Lăng, vượt Oa Dương, Mông Thành, Hoài Viễn, đánh thẳng một đường đến nhà cũ Phụng Dương của Hoàng thượng. Đại quân triều đình đáp lại bằng hành động chậm chạp, hao hết khí lực, vẫn bị bỏ xa ở đằng sau. Quân phòng thủ các lộ cũng phát giác chậm. Mãi đến lúc biết tin tức thì đại quân của Triệu Toại đã ăn uống no nê trong trấn rồi, nghênh ngang rời đi. Ai có động tác nhanh một chút còn có thể đuổi theo nhìn thấy mông ngựa, căn bản không thể uy hiếp đến đại quân của Triệu Toại. Vì vậy Triệu Phong Tử càng đắc ý hơn. Đây là tốc độ hành quân của triều đình trước giờ. Theo tốc độ thế này của quan binh thì chỉ có thể đánh Công Kiên và đánh bao vây như ở Trung Điều Sơn mới có thể chiếm được tiện nghi. Bằng không thiên hạ rộng lớn chẳng phải mặc cho y tới lui. Triệu Phong Tử tiến công thành Phượng Dương, lại còn nhàn hạ thoải mái nghênh ngang đến Hoàng Ân Lầu mà đám con phượng cháu rồng thích đi nhất, thưởng thức trà Hoàng Thiên Lục An. nghỉ ngơi nửa ngày, sau đó tiếp tục đông tiến, ngựa ông dừng vó, đánh tới hồ Binh Ngõa, đoạn thuyền Nam Hạ. Triệu Phong từ hồ vào sông, đại đội đi đường bộ, tiểu đội lái thuyền nơm nớp lo sợ đi qua Dương Châu, đến bờ Trường Giang, ngồi thuyền vượt sông, thuyền qua lại không ngớt, cuối cùng đã đổ bộ ở Hàn Kiều, tiến vào địa giới Giang Nam. Nào ngờ đội quân đuổi không kịp của Dương Lăng đổ bộ ở Trấn Giang, cắt trước mặt bọn họ. Triệu Phong Tử lơ đễnh cho rằng kỵ binh mình thần tốc có thể dễ dàng vượt mặt quan binh, xông thẳng về Nam Kinh. Để không phải đụng độ giằng co cùng với đại quân của Dương Lăng, Triệu Phong Tử nhanh chóng đi về phía Đan Dương. Không ngờ đại quân tập kích bất ngờ Đan Dương, chỉ thấy phía trước tinh kỳ phấp phới, đại kỳ chữ Dương thật lớn tung bay trên đầu thành, dưới thành vạn mã hí vang, thương kích như rừng, quân trận như núi. Triệu Phong Tử thấy thế liền kinh hoàng, bộ đội phản ứng nhanh của triều đình cuối cùng đã chính thức xuất hiện trên vũ đài. Hai bên như ngươi đuổi ta chạy như vậy, Triệu Phong Tử tung hoành lục hợp ai dám bắt, bị Dương Lăng cắn chặt lên mông ngựa đuổi giết không buông, bức bách y phải di chuyển về hướng Thường Châu. Chỉ đường thôn bên cạnh Thái Hồ, trong đại trướng trung quân lâm thời, không khí vô cùng khẩn trương. Triệu Phong Tử về mặt trầm trọng nói: chúng ta tung hoành Hà Nam, Dương Lăng từ đầu đến cuối đều thúc thủ vô sách. Không ngờ là hắn lại ẩn nhẫn như thế. Hóa ra hắn đã sớm chuẩn bị một đội kỵ binh hùng mạnh, mãi đến hôm nay mới phát huy công dụng. Đưa ra phán đoán sai lầm đối với sức cơ động của quan binh vào thời khắc bấu chốt, đó là sơ hở chí mạng. Ưu thế tốc độ của chúng ta không còn nữa. Hiện tại bọn chúng cứ cắn chặt lấy chúng ta, hơn nữa cứ chặn ở cửa ải hiểm yếu tây tiến của chúng ta. Kế hoạch đã định ra trước đó phải sửa đổi một chút. Trần Dương Qua lớn tiếng hỏi: sợ hắn cái gì? Không bằng chúng ta xông lên đối đầu, lấy cứng đối cứng với hắn một phen. Kỵ binh của triều đình chưa chắc đã là đối thủ của chúng ta. Triệu Phong Tử lắc đầu nói: người đừng quên, người dẫn binh là Hứa Thái, Giang Vân, bọn chúng đều là mãnh tướng biên quân. Ta hoài nghi Dương Lăng bí mật điều động biên quân Nam Hạ tham gia bảo vệ thành Nam Kinh, ta nhất định phải lấy được. Ta cố ý lách đến nơi này băng sông, vốn ý là muốn buôn tập đường dài, bỏ mặc quan binh Hà Nam, hấp dẫn chủ lực Giang Nam để tạo điều kiện cho Lưu Lục và Dương Hổ, đồng thời lợi dụng ưu thế kỵ binh của chúng ta luồn qua kẽ hở vòng vây của quân đội quan binh. Nhưng hiện tại Dương Lăng dẫn đại đội kỵ binh ngăn trước mặt chúng ta, tiền cờ đã mất, nhất định phải tùy cơ ứng biến. Y gấp gáp bước đi, bỗng dừng lại nói với Hồng Hương Tử: thôi Phó Nguyên Soái, chính ngọ ngày mai là kỳ hạt Đức định phá thành, ta nghĩ Dương Hổ và Lưu Lục thủy bộ cùng tiến, hai lộ đại quân có thể đã đuổi đến. Nhưng trận chiến này trọng đại, để phòng vạn nhất, ta dẫn chủ lực hấp dẫn sự chú ý của Dương Lăng, nàng dẫn ra 4.000 binh mã tập kích thành Nam Kinh. Sự chú ý của bọn chúng đặt ở chỗ Lưu Lục và Dương Hổ, bên này ắt sẽ hư không. Nàng cần phải đến cửa đông thành Nam Kinh lúc chính ngọ. Thành Nam Kinh hiểm yếu khó bì, tường thành vừa cao vừa dày, nếu cường công chỉ cần lương thảo trong thành sung túc, cho dù 20